Hello and welcome back to Outside Views EU, the channel where we break down the policies and strategies shaping Europe's place in the world. Today we're diving into a crucial topic that's making waves in global trade and technology, the EU's decision to challenge China at the World Trade Organization over unfair practices in the high-tech sector. This is a story of intellectual property rights, innovation, and the fight to ensure a level playing field for European businesses. And let's start with the basics. The European Commission has requested consultations at the WTO to address what it sees as illegal and unfair trade practices by China. At the heart of the issue is intellectual property, specifically standard essential patents. These are patents that protect technologies essential for manufacturing goods that meet a specific standard, such as 5G technology for mobile phones. European companies are global leaders in this area. They hold many high-tech patents, particularly in the telecom sector, which give them a technological edge. But China has empowered its courts to set binding worldwide royalty rates for these patents without the consent of the patent owners. Why is this a problem? Because it pressures innovative European companies into lowering their royalty rates on a global scale. And this gives Chinese manufacturers cheaper access to European technology unfairly, undermining the value of EU intellectual property. It also interferes with the competence of EU courts, which are responsible for resolving European patent issues. The EU argues that these practices violate the WTO agreement on trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights, or TRIPS. TRIPS is a cornerstone of the global trade system, ensuring that intellectual property rights are respected and upheld across borders. By bypassing these rules, China is not just disadvantaging European companies, it is challenging the principles of fair trade. And this isn't the first time the EU has raised concerns about China's approach to intellectual property. There's an ongoing WTO dispute over anti-suit injunctions issued by Chinese courts. These injunctions effectively block high-tech patent holders from enforcing their intellectual property rights outside of China. If they try, they risk fines or other sanctions. A WTO panel is expected to issue a report on this related case in the first quarter of 2025. So, what's happening now? The EU's request for consultations marks the first step in the WTO's dispute settlement process. This is essentially an invitation for China to come to the table and negotiate a solution. If no agreement is reached within 60 days, the EU can escalate the case by requesting the WTO to set up a panel to rule on the matter. And the stakes are high. This isn't just about one sector or a handful of companies. It's about protecting Europe's innovation and ensuring that its high-tech industries can compete globally. The telecom sector, for example, is a critical area where European companies lead in setting standards and driving innovation. Allowing unfair practices to go unchallenged risks undermining this leadership. And why does this matter to the EU? Because intellectual property rights are the backbone of innovation. When companies invest in research and development, they rely on these rights to protect their discoveries and generate returns. If those rights are weakened or undermined, it discourages investment and stifles progress. And this case is also part of a broader effort by the EU to address imbalances in global trade. And the EU's message is clear. Open markets must come with fair rules. And when those rules are broken, the EU is prepared to act to defend its economic interests and ensure a level playing field. What does this mean for the EU-China relationship? It's another point of tension in an already complex relationship. While the EU remains committed to dialogue and cooperation, it's also showing that it won't hesitate to take firm action when necessary. And this dual approach reflects the EU's commitment to both engagement and enforcement. Looking ahead, the outcome of this case could have significant implications. If the WTO rules in favor of the EU, it could set a precedent for addressing similar practices in other sectors or regions. It could also strengthen the EU's position as a defender of fair trade and innovation on the global stage. But it's not just about the legal or economic implications, it's about values. And this case highlights the EU's commitment to protecting the principles of fairness, transparency, and respect for the rules-based international order. But what do you think? Is the EU doing enough to address these challenges? And how can it balance defending its interests with maintaining constructive relations with China? Really curious, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below the video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more insights into Europe's policies and global strategies. Thank you for watching Outside Views EU, and I'll see you in the next video, one of those you find right here in the end screen.